So my story begins about 4 years ago when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I received the phone call when I was at work. I worked at the time for a school for behavioral children doing therapy. And when I received the phone call in the middle of the day, it was like my phone was ringing off the hook, and I normally was not supposed to answer personal phone calls, but figured this must be important. So I answered the call in the stairwell, and they said, "I'm sorry to tell you, but your biopsy results came back and you have cancer." I'm usually a very positive person. Those of you who have seen me before know that I'm, usually laughing and joking around. So it was unusual for me to instantaneously just begin crying and not know what to say. So I sat on the top of the stairwell at work, thinking about all the things that go through most people's minds when they get news like that. Why me? What did I do wrong? What am I going to do now? How am I going to get through the rest of my day? Certainly was no use to the kids at that point in giving them therapy because I was needing it myself. So I went to the doctor, skipping ahead, and said, "Okay, I'm here. What are we doing? What do I have to do?" And I went through all the motions, and I did chemotherapy, I did radiation. In fact, the end of my treatment is next Tuesday, 3 years ago. So no more cancer. Thanks. An interesting thing happened when I went in for my first surgery. My worst physical pain that I could ever imagine was when they took this long needle and stuck it directly in my nipple. And those of you that have boobs are probably out there going, "Oh my God." And yeah, it was bad. And she said, most people swear and get very upset. And she said, "Do you want a ball to squeeze or something?" So I look over at my boyfriend at the time, and he ran to the door. I'm like, "I have two," actually. But I made it through that, and she, gave me courage, said I was very tough. Went in for my surgery. The anesthesiologist over at CMMC, I hope he's not here tonight, lied to me. I told him that I was feeling anxious. I don't like being knocked unconscious. So did they have anything? And he said, "I'm just going to give you something for your anxiety." Yeah, bullshit. Next thing I know, I'm waking up and the surgery's over. And I'm like, how long was I unconscious? The nurse says, "Actually, you weren't unconscious. You transferred yourself from the gurney to the table. In there, it's some kind of medication so that you don't remember what happened." And I said, "Well, did I say anything? Did I?" And the nurse starts giggling, and she's like, "You were funny." Well, folks, when I'm awake, I know I say things that are very off color. So I can't imagine what I possibly could have said. They refused to tell me. No one that was in there would tell me what I said. They just kept maintaining, "You were funny." I'm like, "Oh, good, great, that's great." So throughout the process of treatment, I have to throw out, kudos to the Patrick Dempsey Center. They were very supportive of me and what I went through. I went there for multiple programs that are all free for anyone affected by cancer. I'm not doing a commercial, but it's the truth. And I found that when I was in there, all of a sudden these memories came flooding back to me. So flashback to 1992. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. My mom didn't make it. She was stage 4, and it spread to her liver quickly, and within a year, my mother passed away. And we all had to go in and tell her that it was okay to let go, it's okay to die, because she was holding on. And that was one of the hardest things that I've ever gone through in my life. And I found that when I was in the midst of meditation or getting a massage from someone at the Dempsey Center, I would just suddenly just start sobbing. And I was wishing that they had been there for her when she went through her treatment, because maybe things would have been different. Maybe she would have had a more powerful, positive experience and outlook, and maybe it would have been easier for her. So that's my true pain from my old wound. And for all of you who are out there right now, they ask me all the time when I go in for checkups, are you doing your monthly exams? And I'm like, I touch these babies every day. So I want you guys to feel yourselves up. Don't be afraid to touch your titties. You got them there with you every single minute. Touch them. Get your boyfriend to touch them. Get strangers on the street to touch them. They'll thank you for it. Check yourself. Protect yourself. That's my story.